Okay, so in this video, you're going to learn how to identify solutions from a graph, and we're going to do that by looking at the graph, and then we're also going to learn a calculator shortcut that will always work. So when you're finding the solution to a quadratic equation, you're looking for the x-intercepts. So from here on, when it says solutions, or it could say roots, you are looking for the x-intercepts. Okay? Let's go. Okay, so how you write the solution, there's two different ways you can write them. You can write them like x-intercepts, where you have an x comma 0 and an x comma a 0, where these are just numbers. So you can write them as ordered pairs, or you could write them like x equals a number, and then x equals a number. Okay? So for example, let's say you said x equals 2 and x equals -1. So what you can do is you can write a little squiggly bracket with a 2 and a -1 squiggly bracket. Okay? So not like an ordered pair, but with squiggly brackets. Okay? So those are the two ways that you can choose to write your answers. So let's look at some problems. So how many solutions are there? Where you need to look is on the x-axis, and so you're going to look where it crosses. So here are our solutions, and now so there are two of them. So there are two solutions, and then what are they? So this is at a -1, and then this is at a 2, 3, 4, -5. So you can say that our solutions are -5, 0, and -1, 0. Or you could say x equals -5 and x equals a -1. And you can write that as -5, -1. Okay. So again, look at the x-axis and see how many times it crosses. And then these are the three ways that you can choose to write your answer that all would be correct. Okay. So how many solutions are there? Notice that this graph does not cross the x-axis. So you would say there are none. There are no solutions. Okay, so that answers that question. What are they? There are no solutions. So when the parabola does not cross the x-axis, no solution. All right, how many solutions are there? So again, we're looking at this x-axis, and it crosses once. So there would be one solution, and then that would be at a 1, 2, 3, 4. So the solutions would be 4, 0. You could say x equals 4, or you could do a squiggly bracket with just a 4 in it. So that's how you write it if it has one solution. Okay. All right, how many solutions are there? Look at the x-axis. We've got one here and one here. So there are two solutions. What are they? We've got one at 0, 0, and then we've got one at a 4, 0. So again, you could write x equals 0, x equals 4, or you could draw a squiggly bracket with a 0 and a 4. Okay, so you will either have two solutions, one solution, or no solutions. You will never have anything other than that. All right, so again, how many solutions are there? There is one solution right here, and that would be -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -7. So you would say x equals -7. You could say -7, 0, or you could say -7 with the squiggly bracket. Okay, so that's how you find those solutions from a graph. Pretty simple, but now we're going to learn a shortcut in the calculator, which is a little bit of a step. So first off, you have to make sure that your equation is going to equal 0, and you'll see what that looks like in a second. And then you're going to type your equation into y equals. Okay, we know how to type something into y equals. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at our graph. And then here's how we change our windows on a calculator. So again, here is the y equals button, if my calculator would work. All right. So here's the y equals button up here, and that will get you to the y equals over here. Here is the graph button, and that will graph something once you have it. If you click the window, that's where you need to adjust what this graph looks like. You always want it to go from a -10 to a +10 on the x-axis, going by ones. So SCL means the scale. So we want the scale to go by ones. Same thing, you always want this y-min to be a -10 to a +10, going by ones. So if you need help changing that in the calculator, let me know. Here is the trace button. We'll be using it in a second. Okay, but let's take a look at some problems. So here are the steps in case you need some help, and we'll refer back to these. But let me jump to this problem right here. So find the solutions using a calculator. So step 1 says to make sure the equation equals 0. So I've got equals 0, so I'm good. The second step is to type it into y equals. So we're going to type this equation into y equals together. So I'm going to type a 6. The x is right here, and then the squared button is right here. So 3x squared plus 3x subtract 8. And you do not type in the equals 0, you just type in your equation. Okay, so then the next thing it says to do is to look at your graph. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to hit graph. So there is my graph. So if you can look right here, we're looking for our zeros or our x-intercepts, which are here and here. But they could be decimals, so this shortcut's going to help us figure that out. So you hit second trace, and trace button is here, and so you're trying to get that calc button to come up. So you press the blue button, and then you press the trace button. Okay? You are looking for the zeros. Those are the x-intercepts. So you can either press the button 2, or you can go down to 0, and then you will hit enter. Okay? So now you need to find the two x-intercepts. So it says left bound question mark. So that means with this little arrow key, you are going to go to the left of this x-intercept, which means above it. So you're going to go above it, and you're going to hit enter. And then it says right bound question mark. And you're going to move the arrows to the right or below it. Okay, so you want to go above it and below it and hit enter. Guess question mark. It's asking, do you want it to guess? And so we're going to hit enter again. And then it will give us our answer. So the 0 was x equals -1.4. So let us write that in our notes. So x equals 1.4. So that's one of them. But in this graph, I have two of solutions. So I have to go back and redo all those steps. So you press second trace, and you want the 0. Okay, so second trace. Now I want to find this x-intercept over here. So I have to scroll over here to the left of that, which is somewhere below it. Okay, so left bound question mark. This is left of it, so I'm going to hit enter. It wants me to go right of that x-intercept, which would be somewhere up here. Hit enter. It wants me to guess. Hit enter again. And then it will guess that 0 for you right here where it crosses. So we'll say x equals 0.93. Okay? All right, so that is how you find the answers in your calculator. If you can learn these steps and on your EOC and your test, you can use your calculator and always figure out if you are right. Okay? Let's try it again with a problem like here. So again, my equation has it equal to 0, so I can type it into y equals. So I'm going to go to y equals. I'm going to clear out the one I had before it. Okay, I'm going to type this one in. So 9x squared minus 102x plus 289. Okay, I'm going to look at the graph, and I'm going to hit graph. Okay, and that looks like there is one answer. Okay, but I need to find the x-intercept. So you hit second trace. So second trace. We are looking for the 0. So scroll down to the 0 button and hit enter. Now I need to find this little arrow key that's blinking. Where is it at? There it is. Okay. So here is the left of this x-intercept, so I'm going to hit enter. Now I need to go to the right of it and hit enter, and then hit enter one last time for it to guess. And so here's my guess is 5.666. So we'll just do 5.7. Okay. All right, so that's how you find the solution in your calculator. So if you follow those steps, you will always get the right answer. So let me know if you need help finding the left and the right of them. But otherwise, we're going to try one more together, and then you'll be set free on your own to practice. All right, so these are different because I do not have an equals 0 right here. So what you actually have to do is to get rid of the number on this side. So the opposite of an 8 is a -8, and so I would do it somewhere on the left side as well. So now this side will equal 0, and all you do is rewrite this. So you would say 6x squared plus 3x minus 8, okay? And then now it looks like a problem on the front page that we can solve. So the most important thing is to make sure that you've got everything on the same side. So let me go ahead and do this step as well. I need to move this 10 to the other side by doing the opposite of a 10, which is a -10. Since this is a number, I'm going to do it under its like term, which is this one right here. So then I have 0, and I have 9x squared minus 102x plus 289. Okay, so now I have each side equal to 0, and I can do those steps in the calculator. But notice these are the exact same problems that we did on the second page. Okay, so I'm going to go through this one with you again so you can make sure that you remember the calculator steps because we already know the answers. But I'm going to go to y equals, and I'm going to clear out anything I have. I'm going to type this in, 6x squared plus 3x minus 8. But I'm not going to type in the equals 0. I'm going to look at the graph. Okay. I need to find the zeros, and you press second trace. Go down to 0 and hit enter. You want to go to the left of this point right here that we don't know and hit enter. Then you want to go to the right of that point and hit enter, and then enter one last time for it to guess, and we will get -1.4, which is what we got on the last problem. Okay. I need to again find this point over here. So I'm going to press second trace, go down to 0, and then I'm going to go over here to the left of this point, so somewhere below it, and hit enter. I'm going to go to the right and hit enter, and enter one last time to get 0.93. Okay. So those are the answers we got from them when we did them the first time. But again, those are how you find the steps in the calculator. This will always work, and it's a great skill that you can use on your ACT, on your EOC, on anything like that. Okay. Biggest thing is second trace. Will get you to find this 0 right here. Okay. All right. You can now practice and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.